deepest technological revolution in human history.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to day 2 of MWC Kigali. Yesterday, we looked at the digital transformation taking place across the length and breadth of Africa, the opportunities that come with this process, and the challenges still to be addressed. Today, we have the opportunity to dive a little deeper, to look at what it will take to build a connected Africa. Across the continent, 4G adoption is accelerating, with connections expected to double by 2030. And 5G is gathering momentum too, with over 200 million connections expected by 2030. As 4G and 5G take off, authorities and enterprises alike are leveraging these networks alongside emerging technologies such as AI and IoT to enhance productivity and efficiency in service delivery. Already, we are seeing increasing investments in the AI space and some interesting use cases, specifically in Africa. For example, AI models used to forecast floods, to expanding access to affordable healthcare by using AI to manage supply chain processes. Indeed, governments and enterprises in the region are increasingly using technology to tackle some of the biggest challenges of society. And 5G will accelerate this even further. As connectivity becomes ever more fundamental to our daily lives and continues to drive digital transformation across the continent, it's crucial that we begin planning now for the networks of the future. Networks that can keep up with industry and consumer demand. Networks that will open up more opportunities for innovation and growth. And most importantly, networks that will put people at the center of a digital-first Africa. I am delighted that today we have a distinguished lineup of speakers to share their wealth of knowledge and experience within this field, demonstrating what can be achieved when governments and industry leaders align to fulfill the promise of a connected Africa. With that, let me introduce our first speaker, Mr. Lassina Kone, Director General of Smart Africa. Lassina oversees the process of defining and advancing Africa's digital agenda and has led the development of continental blueprints for Africa on digital identity, ICT startups, and innovations ecosystems and smart villages. Lassina was also responsible for defining Africa's Smart Broadband 2025 strategy. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Director Generals and heads of regionals and national regulatory authorities, distinguished CEOs, leaders and representatives of the mobile industry, international and regional organizations, fellow speakers, delegate participants, invited guests, all protocol observed. It is an absolute pleasure to be here today to speak on building a connected Africa. Today, we all in these rooms are connected by a shared vision of digital Africa that is not just keeping pace with the rest of the world, but actually leading the change and leading the charges into a brighter, smarter, and a more inclusive future. We know that in this digital age, a technological connected Africa means access to education, healthcare, jobs, economic opportunities, and much more for our beloved continent. What then do we need to do to bring the 680 million people in sub-Saharan Africa who are under mobile broadband coverage but are not able to use this service? What do we need to do? What then do we need to do to connect the remaining 20% of the populations in Africa? We need innovations, and that must be innovation in our context in Africa. As I always say, funding or investment is like the rain. For rain to fall, you need certain conditions of the cloud. And creating a conducive environment in Africa, an agile regulation, that is the only way to go. We need to innovate around affordable handset, affordable access to the internet, renewable energy, digital skills, and the list goes on. And this innovation cuts across policies, implementation, and all the value chain services of meeting the end user. In the spirit of Ubuntu, the African philosophy that emphasizes our interconnectedness and shared humanity, let us come together to transform this obvious need into a reality. The Smart Africa Secretariat has put in place 3 key interventions towards addressing the usage gap, namely the bulk capacity marketplace to address the broadband affordability usage. It is not just on paper. It's been done before in Rwanda. Let's scale it up, as it will allow the landlocked country to be land-linked. Smart devices affordability to address smartphone penetrations and usage. And we've actually witnessed that during these events, with the Airtel events in Rwanda. Smart Africa Digital Academy to address competency-based digital skills. All these require a collaboration between government, businesses, civil society, and citizens to leverage resources and expertise. And I call on all of us here to come on board. Kindly now, allow me to touch on one of the most transformative technological advancements of our era, 5G. The 5G represents a revolutionary force that will profoundly influence how we connect, how we communicate, and how we collaborate now and the year ahead. It is a groundbreaking element that will disrupt our industry, create new opportunity, and in my view, can allow a leapfrog and leap forward of Africa into the digital. If strategically implemented, we could afford to send telemedicine and education to the remote part of Africa without having to put in place the bricks and mortar institution in these areas, thereby creating speed to the market and increasing access to health and education. It holds the key to unlocking the potentials of the Internet of Things, enabling a world where devices communicate seamlessly and in real time. All of these is well known, but unfortunately, it is currently accessible to only a minority of our population who have the privilege to these services. Again, at Smart Africa, we have 2 projects aimed at supporting our member state in achieving a significant development milestone. These projects include the regulation of 5G and affordable access to smart devices. You may wonder why I've brought back the Smart Africa project. I will address this very soon. As 5G is a relatively new technology, we want to provide effective support on 5G for our member state. Based on this, we have conducted several capacity buildings measures targeted at regulatory for agile regulations and regulation for development, policies and decision makers on these topics through the Digital Academy, SADA, Smart Africa Digital Academy. Secondly, together with our private sector partners, DITCON, we are in the final stage of completing a white paper which will help us understand the landscape of 5G in Africa and the model of the regulations to go with it as we embrace this technology. The draft 5G white paper developed shall be shared with our members, the regulation, and the regulators for the advancement of this technology on our continent. Coming back to the topic of smart devices, we know that the operators sometimes faces constraint when upgrading 2G or 3G equipment in area where residents lack access to 4G and or 5G devices. In this regard, we want to support our member state through the Affordable Access to Smart Devices project. The concept is simple: partnering with the key financial institutions, major manufacturing and assembly company in smart devices to develop a low-cost features phone that can access the service offered by the 5G network. Everything I have mentioned is not a mere vision. It has already been accomplished in other parts of the globe and in Africa. We have seen this being realized here in Rwanda this week. I talked about it. Why can't we extend such a program to our countries and provide access to smart devices? I would like to emphasize the significance of providing access to affordable devices, as this will not only extend the benefit of 5G technology, but also accelerate the sunsetting of older 2G and 3G network to allow for efficient use of those freed up frequencies. By equipping individuals in underserved areas with these affordable devices, we are inherently pushing forward the process of transitioning to the next generation's network. Beyond this primary benefit of ensuring smart devices in the hands of every citizen, it holds the potential to play a critical role in environmental sustainability in the face of climate change and environmental challenges. They enable us to monitor and manage resources more efficiently, reducing waste and mitigating the impact of climate change. As was mentioned across the keynote yesterday during the opening, the Africa we want in 2063 is within our grasp. The world is watching, and we are here to showcase them that the future is being built right here, right now, on this remarkable continent. We do not only need to talk our talk or walk our talk, we must run our talk, because 2030 is just around the corner. In conclusions, I want to express my gratitude to each one of you who has joined us here this morning. Your presence signifies your commitment to building a digital Africa that leaves no one behind. So let's roll up our sleeves, embrace the challenges, and seize the opportunity that lie before us to connect everyone in a meaningful way. Once again, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lucina. Our next speaker is Mr. Bokar Bar, CEO of Samina Telecommunications Council. For over 3 decades, Bokar has worked to deliver impact in the telecoms and ICT industry, facilitating collaboration among private sector and government entities in pursuit of policies that promote digitalization and socio-economic growth. I look forward to hearing his insights. Please join me in welcoming Bokar to the stage.
Good morning, Excellencies, honorable guests, industry colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here today once again. Thank you, GSMA, for this privilege and for setting impactful agenda themes for the MWC in Kigali. Our talk today is about the impact of 5G and digital innovation. And ladies and gentlemen, let's remember that Africa is home to half of the 40 fastest growing economies and has been globally recognized as the place of the next revolution in socio-economic development. Therefore, in the era of fifth-generation digital technologies, connecting and building Africa through local innovation and smart fit-for-purpose technology mix is essential. In this regard, over the next several minutes, I will talk about the criticality of infrastructure as the backbone of digital progress in Africa and the importance of ensuring sufficient funding is available for Africa to transform, of course, digitally. To set the context, last week I had the opportunity to emphasize in Dubai on digital transformation, technology integration, and economic diversification as the three main pillars of inclusive progress that we are seeing in the Middle East and specifically in the GCC region. I believe this is what we should aim to see in Africa as well. Digital transformation and economic development strategies go side by side. Therefore, digital transformation must become and remain a high priority for African government throughout this decade. Such prioritization is in alignment with Sustainable Development Goals, UN Broadband Commission's recommendation, Africa Union's 2063 Agenda, and Smart Africa Strategic Vision, and government-level commitment to accelerate sustainable socio-economic development across our continent. Thanks to the investments, policy and regulation support, the sub-Saharan African region has experienced strong mobile subscriber growth, predicted to reach almost 613 million just in the next couple of years, which is almost 50% of the region's population. And this is driven mainly by 800 million people below the age of 25, who are Africa's bright tomorrow. 40% of the adult population of sub-Saharan is now connected to mobile internet services. Sub-Saharan Africa right now is in a mobile technology transition, which reflects the growing shift from legacy 2G and 3G networks to 4G. Of course, Lassina mentioned just before me, 4G will remain a predominant technology for the next 2 years, accounting for almost a third of mobile connections in the region compared to just a couple of years ago under a fifth of connection. There is, however, still a significant usage gap that persists in the use of mobile broadband technologies, with 44% of the population living in areas covered by mobile broadband networks, but not using mobile internet services. This is predominantly due to handset and broadband affordability, shortage of digital skills, and insufficient relevant content. If you were with us yesterday at the policy debate, we have addressed the device affordability. The 5G potential, because mobile technology has a direct impact on inclusive progress, as I mentioned earlier, in view of Africa's long-term socio-economic development, in what we desire to be a sustainable digital future for Africa as a whole, Africa's government and the private sector should keep eyes on understanding and harnessing 5G's potential as the neighboring region carry on forward in deploying 5G. For Africa, where on one hand, main potential of 5G has been viewed from improving connectivity for homes and enterprise, enabling the digital transformation of enterprise, boosting tech innovation, and meeting the connectivity needs of youth and young consumer, advancement in 5G, such as 5G Advanced or 5.5G, hold the potential to address connectivity challenges in the underserved area. And for Africa in these early days of 5G adoption, it's imperative to pick up harmonized pace through spectrum auctions, pilot and commercial trials, as well as identifying locally relevant use case. Of course, mass market readiness and ecosystem maturity in the long run requires a complete harmonized efforts. 5G rollout and adoption needs to account for the current connectivity landscape, emerging digital services, and unique market futures specific to Africa. Thus, the approach needs to be absolutely targeted, collaboration-driven, and phased together, serving needs where they arise rather than opting for a large-scale rollout. Africa needs to leapfrog on multiple fronts to make up for the lost time and to accelerate fulfillment of its collective vision and that of the vision of each of its 54 economies. It is therefore encouraging to note that Africa is not merely adopting technology, but is innovating on the digital front, as it banks on its most important resource, its human capital. Our continent, with its youthful population and developing middle class, is poised to leapfrog traditional development models, thereby nurturing a tech-driven ecosystem. And as the continent continues to embrace technological advancement, increased bandwidth and data demand, cloud migration, and content accessibility will catalyze socio-economic and enterprise segment growth even further. Expectations are that digitalization will fully permeate Africa's economic sector, enterprise segment, and all areas of human endeavor. For Africa to truly thrive in the digital era, robust and sustainable connectivity is crucial. Over the last 5 years, mobile operators in Africa have invested nearly $45 billion just in CapEx, mostly on deploying and expanding 4G networks. However, these immense investments are not sufficient to bring connectivity to all, because large parts of Africa remain digitally isolated due to inadequate infrastructure stemming from funding challenges in specifically the non-profitable region. Therefore, bridging the gap requires not only infrastructural investment, but also investment in the soft factor by enhancing digital literacy, curating relevant content, and as I mentioned initially, addressing device affordability. Connectivity, specifically in Africa's context, is a big challenge, and here I make a direct reference to the Africa World Bank Moonshot report developed by the UN Broadband Commission. And such report, based on the estimation of the World Bank, shows there is a requirement of almost $100 billion to fund connectivity gaps in Africa. quickly giving a dive into how connectivity can be brought to Africa on a sustainable way, let me state two facts. The first one is meaningful broadband connectivity and affordable access to it is fundamental going forward. Paradigm shift in approaches to connectivity provision are required to ensure that this fundament can be granted to everyone. So the recommendation made from the Broadband Commission, as you can see on this report, have been informing our recent discussion, and I invite you to have a look and download this report, along with the Smart Africa Stemming Study, Impact on OTT Application and Services. I will be going very fast on the next coming slide because my time is up, but what I just wanted to touch base on was on the recommendation that we have made. The first one was broadening the base of investors and funders, which mean whoever benefits from the digital economy should contribute. The second is recycling back the proceeding from the government into the digital economy sector. The third one is a better utilization of the Universal Service Fund. And the fourth one is the creation of an international fund for risk mitigation in the developing nations. I have my slides available. I would like to respect the next speakers, but very quickly, leveraging the public and private people partnership, the 4 Ps. I have mentioned very quickly the creation of the international fund, and of course, optimizing the local financial solution by championing the local government and the use of the local investment. Of course, embracing collective growth, because Lassina mentioned 2030 is just in about 6 years. And this is a call for action. A collaborative growth needs to have an endeavor of working together throughout the entire value chain. So as a conclusion, I would like, ladies and gentlemen, to let you know that we can discuss much more in details on these ideas that I wanted to share with you, on how tomorrow we can support the leapfrogging of Africa into the next generation of network, 5G and 5.5G. Thank you very much for your audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bokar. Our next speaker is Mr. Philip Bizimir, CEO and Managing Director of Vodacom Tanzania. Philip brings with him much expertise gained across multiple markets, from South Africa to South Sudan, Swaziland and Zambia. Deeply experienced in leadership and commercial execution, I know he has some unique perspective to share with us today. So please join me in welcoming Philip to the stage.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Or maybe like we say in Rwanda, mwaramutse. Mwaramutse neza. See, I'm learning first. It's a very big privilege and honor for me to be here on behalf of the Vodacom group, but also to stand before you in my capacity and share experiences and some of our thoughts from a Vodacom point of view. And our first keynote speaker this morning said, and it stuck in my head, that the Africa we envision is within our grasp. And we're talking about a connected Africa. But how do we go about that? Imagine a fully connected Africa. It is possible in our lifetime, and there's a lot that's already happening. Today, we gather to explore the transformative power of connectivity in Africa. The statistics are compelling, revealing both the immense potential and the critical urgency of building a connected Africa. As of 2022, approximately 78% of Africa's population remained unconnected to the internet. They may have had patchy connections here and there, but really proper broadband connectivity, the vast millions of our citizens don't have access to proper connection. which means that millions of individuals are left on the fringes of the digital age. This digital divide is not just a matter of convenience, but a fundamental divide in opportunity, education, healthcare, and economic participation. However, the tide is turning. In the past decade, Africa has experienced remarkable progress in connectivity. With fast-growing African population now having access to the internet, the momentum is building. The continent's mobile revolution is an exemplary success story, with Africa having the fastest growing mobile market globally. And yet, we are at crossroads. The potential of a fully connected Africa is a staggering 300 billion. And that includes the 25 billion that Bonka spoke about from a 5G potential point of view. So there is immense contribution that connectivity of our population would bring to all our economies, creating countless job opportunities, fostering innovation, and enhancing the delivery of critical services, and creating that circular economy that we yearn for. Today, we delve into some of the challenges. And you'll see that, and I think for those of you that attended some of the keynote sessions yesterday and the panels, there's quite a number of challenges that we all have to grapple with in our different markets. Infrastructure challenges, energy and sustainability, big one for us. The cost of devices, I think you just heard from the two previous speakers. So many policymakers in the room today, policies that are pro-growth and making sure that these are aligned and consistent in different markets. Collaboration, the previous speaker did speak about that and challenged us to collaborate because there is no one entity that can solve these problems on their own. And obviously, for us to be able to deal with the increasing demand for quality services in our different markets. And if I go specifically into the infrastructure challenge, you'll see that quite a number of challenges besiege the industry or the various players in the ecosystem, whether it's cost of deployment, power supply, like I said earlier on, regulatory hurdles, sometimes the terrain or geography of where we have to go to, climate and environmental factors. At the moment in Tanzania, one of the things that we are sort of all preparing for is this possible El Nino. You know, how do we make sure that critical services remain online should that event happen? And these, in some geographies, are persistent and not just a once-off or just a seasonal thing, and various other adverse environmental and climatic issues. Obviously, capacity and scalability, financing. Yesterday in one of the sessions, I think one of the things that we sometimes overlook is gender and inclusivity. How do we make sure that, you know, women, the youth, and those that don't have, and those with disabilities are participating equally, just like everyone else. There are various approaches to solving these challenges. And here I delve into just one example on how we could possibly use the technology and innovation around satellites to solve broadband connectivity in some areas. There are satellite solutions in a number of countries. As a Vodacom group, we have what we call the Project Kuiper, where we are reaching more and more hard to reach or hard to connect areas through satellite connectivity. And if you look at this initiative with AST Space Mobile, we have an opportunity, or using their technology, to reach as many as 1.6 billion people in 49 countries. That's not all. obviously there are other opportunities that we can use to solve some of the challenges. The previous speaker spoke about universal access, spoke about creative and innovative funding, different design solutions from an OEM point of view. Today, if you look at a ballpark figure of $120,000, give or take, to put up a traditional site, we have to be able to bring the cost of that to under $60,000, under $50,000. Otherwise, scaling is not going to be possible in some of these areas that we refer to. So I think the opportunity for us really in Africa is massive, and we can do a lot to continue innovating and solving some of these challenges that we face. Looking at energy specifically, over 200 billion per year for African countries to achieve all their energy-related development goals. That's a lot of money. In the last 12 to 18 months, more than 3,000 solar mini-grids have been installed in sub-Saharan Africa. But we still do not have industrial use cases to run networks across our footprint. Yes, you do have small instances where solar has been used, but it has not been really deployed at scale to run networks. And this is where innovation and collaboration is going to be key. I won't really spend a lot of time on the smartphones. I think this discussion has been discussed at length, both yesterday and our previous speakers also highlighted this. But really the opportunity here, if you look at in terms of opportunity to connect Africans, by 2027, about 688 plus million connections are possible. And this requires for us to find innovative ways of making devices affordable and finding solutions out there that can actually result in people connecting to the internet and using the internet. In terms of 5G, as I close, I think just a few things to note is that 5G adoption is already accelerating in some parts of the world. There is no reason why Africa will not be able to catch up. I think most of the markets, countries, we have seen an intent with some early launches of 5G. In the Vodacom footprint alone, we've already launched in most of our markets. Tanzania has launched, Mozambique has launched, DRC will be launching, has launched as well, South Africa has launched, and we know that Safaricom, who's within the stable, have already launched. So there are instances of taking a leap of faith and going ahead with this technology. I think the big opportunities for us, how do we use this technology going forward to advance our societies, both for customers, how do we monetize, and what are the services that customers are going to be using. I think in closing, I believe that a connected Africa with 5G acceleration will help us leapfrog within the fourth industrial revolution. It calls for collaboration between government, industry, and key stakeholders, but also we know that there is massive economic impact, and I think we heard from the previous speaker about the 20 billion opportunity by 2026. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Philip. Our next speaker is Dr. Philip Song, Chief Marketing Officer of Huawei Carrier BG. With much deep-seated experience in research and development and marketing in the ICT domain, I now invite Philip to the stage to share his perspective on the future of a connected Africa. Welcome, Philip.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Philip Song from Huawei Technology. So in charge of the global marketing. So today it's my honor to join you in MWC Kigali 2023. So the topic of this keynote is regarding accelerate Africa and how to connect Africa. And we know there are a lot of the solutions talking about how to accelerate. So my approach is digitalization. So today, I would like to share with you my understanding about the digitalization. And I also would like to talk about how to seize the opportunities of the digitalization to build a connected Africa. At present, the digital economic is the key drivers of the growth in the world, almost the major economies. So it's becoming a key force in reorganizing the global resources and reshaping the global economic structure, and also changing the global connectivity situation. And according to the industry forecast, the digital economic and will reach more than $23 trillion in year of the 2025. In 2020, the digital economic contributed more than 15% to the global GDP. And this number is going to be raised more than 24% by year 2025, and which shows very strong growth. And we also see light, and more countries are defining the digitalization as a national strategy. And based on our research, more than 170 countries now have formulated their own digital strategies. As for Africa, you also know, come with your own digital ambition as well. As described in the digital transformation strategy for Africa, by 2030, the broadcast speed across Africa and will be larger than 6 Mbps. And also every African will be able to use the telecom services at a reasonable price. In recent years, the ICT industry, especially 5G, has led the digital transformation and achieved a leapfrog development. The value of the ICT industry is increasing year by year in terms of the global GDP contribution. And more importantly, the ICT industry has created new business fields such as the mobile IoT and the mobile payment, and which made a very impressive contribution to the economic and the social development. At the same time, ICT has accelerated the rapid growth of the industry digitalization. And with the wide deployment of the 5G network, the efficiency of the industry has greatly improved, including finance, agriculture, and also the manufacturing. Also, the economic scale has been multiples increased. So today, I'm going to talk about the digitalization from the 3 directions. And first of all, go digital. As we all know, there are still some areas are not still connected yet. And however, when the connectivities has been built up, then come to the digital productions and the digital life. The value of the connectivities will far exceed the connectivity itself. So, okay. I think there's some problems. Sorry. Okay, so the second, the Go 5G. So it's obvious the new 5G services will improve the user experience greatly. And however, after the 5G deployment and how to increase the ARPU and how to win the new user is both challenges and also opportunities. And the third one, go green. And green at the moment is a very hot topic globally. And later I'm going to share with you Huawei's understandings on the green development and also provide our suggestions and how to go green. So first, we need a connected Africa. As the foundation of the digitalization, ICT technology is spreading across the continent. And Africa is on the path of the digital transformation. And based on a report by the Endeavor, the size of the digital economic and will grow sixfold by 2050. Such as the online shopping, it has become increasingly popular with the young generation because of its convenient user experience. So we need to say thank you to the constructions of the digital infrastructure. And we will see the explosive growth in the internet users and the e-commerce users. So like what happened in Cameroon, around 15% of the population are still not connected yet. So limited access to the internet prevent the people of the Cameroon from taking advantage of the digital services. So such as the online banking, e-commerce, and other economic opportunities. And Huawei is always standing with operators to bring the high-quality connectivities to the more people. So mobile network enable connectivities to the villages, and the video call, internet surfing becomes possible. So mobile network enables connectivities to online banking, and it allows the people to pay their bill with the mobile money, which can reduce the risk of the carrying cash. And also the mobile network enabled connectivities to children. Online education allows children to swim in the ocean of the knowledge just by touching a tablet. And we can say connectivities and will be build a digital world, and the digitalization is going to take us to a better life. And the second, so we need to accelerate Africa. Society development is accelerating. Technology improvement is accelerating. And the immersive experience upgrade is accelerating. So we are going to say farewell to the traditional video experience. And the cross-generation new experience is coming to us. The end user will be able to enjoy their free view video, 4K, 8K, the high-definition videos, and even the glass-free, the 3D video as well. So which can provide us a more realistic world. And better user experience requires advanced network. And 5G will accelerate the upgrade of the user experience and further to release the value of the traffic. And in addition to the user experience upgrade, 5G also can provide the fiber-like experience with MWA. As we see in Botswana, the 5G FWA solutions can provide the home broadband service, and the maximum speed can reach more than 70 Mbps, together with the unlimited data package. So it can enable the operators to increase their ARPU more than twice. And meanwhile, Huawei FWA suite can support operators to locate their target users more accurately than before. including the high-value, the home, and enterprise customers. Together with the affordable CPE, the operators also can move into the fast track of the brand improvement, the high-end user development. The third one, I'm going to talk about a sustainable Africa. As we all know, green development has become a global consensus. So at the COP27, the conference held in Egypt last year, and they reaffirmed the need to reduce emission by more than 40% before 2030. As building the Great Green Wall, so Africa is actively pursuing the way of the green development. And however, green development is not just about combating climate change, but also can achieve a better life and a social development. And as we all know, Africa has taken many actions to build a green infrastructures. And for example, in Malay, so we work with the local operators there and to build a new stations. Originally, many remote areas are not connected yet. There's no coverage. So the operators has to use and have to power their base stations with a diesel generator. And now, and with the Huawei Green Solutions, the green side at the moment can use 100% of the renewable energy, so which can reduce the carbon emission by 10 tons per year, and also can save more than 20,000 euros per year in OPEX. And at the same time, so thanks to the green solutions, more and more the rural area can be covered, can be connected, and help operators to realize and to achieve more subscribers growth. So we know that for now, Africa is accelerating its evolution from the 3G to 4G and 5G. And Huawei is ready to support operators to expand the digital boundary, create digital value, and accelerate the digital transformation, so as to fully unleash the digital productivities in Africa. In current world, there's too many uncertainty, but the evolution of the technology is certain. So we hope we are able to deal with all uncertainty with the technology certainty. So let's we go digital, go 5G, and go green. So now we work together to build a connected and digital Africa. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Philip. And thank you once again to all our speakers here today for sharing your valuable knowledge on delivering a connected Africa. I look forward to continued partnership and collaboration with you in the years to come to deliver on the full potential of connectivity for everyone. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning. I wish you a very successful MWC Kigali, and I hope to see many of you again in MWC Barcelona 2024. Thank you.
Orange Energies.